This number here represents the number of Americans that were incarcerated as of July 2021. America is only 4.25% of the world's population, yet it contains 25% of the prisoner population. In America, around 650 to 700 for every 100,000 people are incarcerated. It's ranked on top of basically everything to do with incarceration, with a majority of individual states containing more incarcerated people than entire countries. Why? Mr. Rodriguez, as a former security guard, told me a tale of when he worked on Wynn Unit. Within the cafetorium, the walls were grimy, covered with invasive moss. At the location where inmates obtained their meal was a large, rusty pot filled with the prison's cheapest method of avoiding lawsuits. Up above the pot of pico was a pipe serving as a sidewalk for the rats that make themselves at home among the prisoners. They bombard everything with their feces from their high ground. The individuals stirring the mush continued the occurrence of the concoction littered with rat poo. Now compare what I've just described to this. Killing a man in Norway is better than working a minimum wage job in America because you can get a comfortable home, or a home in general. Haddingfield is a Norwegian maximum security prison with the ironic title of being the most humane prison in the world. In a video by Now This News, it attempts to understand how Haddingfield functions to state itself as a maximum security prison, along with its admirable title. In the story of Haddingfield, the guide describes 4 key elements: the principle of normality, a focus on humanity, dynamic security, and an emphasis on integration. In Norway, they have a really important policy where taking someone's liberty away along with exiling them from their family and community is in itself the punishment. Thus, life inside the prison should look as normal to home as possible. The prison system reflects this idea, giving inmates a comfortable and familiar environment with stuff like a completely normal bathroom and a DVD player. Another aspect is dynamic security, which focuses on the interactions of guards or contact officers and inmates. Contact officers serve as both officers and social workers, requiring 2 years of full-time college, in contrast of correctional officers or standard prison guards, which require only a few weeks in training. The relationship between contact officers and inmates is friendly and casual, avoiding the feeling of oppression. The most important part of Haddingfield's system is how they rehabilitate inmates, with Norway having one of the lowest recidivism rates, which is when a convicted criminal does another crime in the world, averaging around 20%. Haddingfield focuses heavily on rehabilitation of convicts, assisting them until they're able to join the general population again, treating them as humans and giving them a comfortable environment. Within the comment sections of the video, someone perfectly summarized the ideology of Haddingfield. We take away their freedom, but not their humanity. I can't really use a number to transition to how much America focuses on rehab compared to Norway, but that's mainly because of physically multiplying any number to 0. America's recidivism rate is 76.6% within the past 5 years. American fatalities in prisons are also increasing, making them even more hazardous than before. Including the fact that COVID-19 existed, which killed a total of 9,550 people in Harris County alone, which is only being mentioned because it's death, which is, bad. I wanted to talk about deaths outside of diseases. Man-made causes, excluding murder. Data from the Bureau of Justice Statistics made somewhere in April 2021, detailing information on mortalities in state and federal prisons from 2001 and 2008. It has a section on table on counting what causes of death occurred over said year span. From 2001 to 2018, suicides have gone up from 168 to 331, and deaths from substance abuse increased from 35 to 249. Out of every 100,000 prisoners as of 2018, 28 of them committed suicide and 21 of them died from substance abuse. This is only scraping the tippy top of the iceberg. This is extreme deaths from guards or of guards from beatings, rape, imprisonment of addicts, and the mentally troubled, or just general abuse. Inmates were referred to by their numbers like the Jews during the Holocaust. They're shoved into tiny singular pens or in cells with several people like pigs in a pen. People in jail are not deemed as criminals, but as worthless and without redemption. Animals. Prison doesn't dehumanize them like how the Nazis dehumanized the Jews. But why? You know how America has the most expensive healthcare by a whole thing amount of how the life expectancy of America is the lowest in the developed world even though it's the wealthiest? Yeah, that's the reason. This industry, yes it's an industry, is worth $9.3 billion. From 2016 to 2021, it makes an average of $7.4 billion a year. These prisons are private, containing 8.2% of America's prisoners. Note that these private prisons are the ones making 7.4 a year. These prisons are dangerous and focus purely on containing as many individuals and concrete walls as possible so they can offer a ludicrous amount of money. In addition, they're shown to be worse towards inmates, they don't save money for taxpayers, they force inmates into labor for little to none, and the private prison industry has a grip on every single aspect of the criminal justice system just for more profit. It's just like the private medical industry, because let's make what should be a liberty for living on this semi-spherical rock into a luxury requiring money to not be extraordinarily landslided by persons so extreme it's comparable to an atomic bomb being concentrated into a family's bank account, all because little Timmy got hit by a car. America clearly has several problems with its prisons, from the incarceration rates to the abuse, the large collection of deaths, and the privatization of America's prisons. There's an overwhelming amount of information confirming these issues. I'd like to clarify that Norway isn't the only country with a good prison system, but I feel justified comparing one most to another. It also cuts down on the amount of stuff I had to do for this. Several prisons are actually taking inspiration for how they think show. However, it's isolated into the entire country, and all those behind rusting, humiliating steel poles stepped into commanding, dehumanizing concrete. They justify caging those who might have just taken a misstep or needed someone's guidance. They never allowed them to have another chance at life, especially with their crippled reputation as a criminal, robbing them any opportunities. They tell us that those roped into wooden chairs and dim lights are monsters and should never have a chance of standing while they continue to laugh, paying themselves in money that will never use to fix the actual problem. Why is it 2,094,000? Profits. That's why. Good night. God, I spend way too much bloody time on this.